Welcome to 3 Hours Early. I'm Matt. Joined with me is Ash.
Hi.
And Adam.
Hello.
And right now we're going to get into a nice spoiler talk about Alien Covenant.
Tons of spoilers.
We're going to riddle it with spoilers. Now, we took a few days just to really let this movie sink in.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to just compare, contrast to the rest of the franchise, what works, what didn't work.
Yes.
And we're just gonna get right into it.
Matt and I are both Aliens fanatics. We're fanboys. We love it.
Yes.
We watched the entire series over and over and over. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little disappointed with Alien Covenant. We'll start from the beginning.
Right.
The first 15 minutes, an intro.
Right. So right off the bat, I gotta say, the cold open with David and Wayland really, I just think, sets such a bad mood for the movie.
Oh yeah.
And when the title card finally came up right after that scene, I was thinking, oh look, they're doing the same thing that they did with Alien, with the way the letters came in.
Yes.
And the very first thought I had was, this feels like rushed fan service. Like that was the...
Oh yeah.
Because I looked, and the minute and 47 seconds is how long it takes all the letters of Alien. You got the Jerry Goldsmith score going with the slow pan through space. It really sets up the mood. It's another minute and a half for Aliens. And for pretty much the rest of the series. This movie, when I had that thought, it was only like 10, 15 seconds in, and it was already done. And then we're right into the movie, and there's no build-up.
Okay. I want to go even further back to the epilogue, the preludes, like those small trailer-like devices.
Yes, the prologues.
A good form of trailers, by the way.
As trailers, not as separate content that you have to seek out on YouTube.
Yes, this is the other problem. Instead of that cold open, they needed... I didn't think they did. They needed that prologue.
That cold open, would have been a great trailer.
Yeah.
Those prologues, preludes, those would have been great trailers if they shortened them. But what happened was they ended up taking that one where they're all introducing themselves, and they just used that for character development. Because in the first 15 minutes, I did not see any character development other than 4 characters.
Right.
So I didn't watch the movie. So I'm sitting as the bystander here, quite curious. So do you feel as though that prologue needed to be watched? Did they assume that everyone watched these prologues before watching the film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch them all. I only watched a couple of them. Got the gist. And I kind of skipped through that introduction one.
Yeah.
And now I have no idea who any of these characters are. And I guess the movie just assumes I know who these characters are.
And that is a big problem, because one thing that I will say about the Alien franchise and how it's so important to me is they are, at the end of the day, take out the horror, take out all that, and the genre aspects of each film, because they're so different. They're all character-driven pieces. They're established characters, and they each take about an hour of developing these guys before they throw them into the meat grinder.
Prometheus, they're all introduced. No, I love the introduction of Prometheus. It felt the same to me as the introduction of the characters in Aliens. There's just a bunch of people sitting around bantering with each other, giving their thoughts and opinions. Like even just when they're an audience for Wayland, and one guy's just swearing and being a cowboy or whatever.
Another thing that, like, just on that character, they could have shrunk the cast down. They didn't need 16 characters. They could have just had 10. And that way, because half of them die off without really any I didn't know who was married to who. I didn't know who were the couples.
Yes.
I did not know.
So we should, let's.
Yeah, so let's take a moment. Walk me through. You had this 15-minute lack of intro.
Yeah.
And what came up after that?
Well, the first 15 minutes was pretty much a sci-fi intro and a reason to go to their next setting for the conflict. And I like the sci-fi aspect of it. It's cool, but they gave me nothing to work with for the rest of the movie. So you get to they're 20 minutes in, I'd say 25 minutes in, when we're immediately thrown into action.
Yeah. Yeah. Sort of. Is that the first med lab scene you're talking about?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's about right.
So, and this is a great scene. I love it. However, it's very similar to the med lab scene in Prometheus in almost every way and feel.
I would disagree a little bit with that, but go on.
And it felt the same. It felt rehashed. Because I had already seen something like this, I didn't feel as thrilled or as
Intrigued.
freaked out as I was when I was first watching it.
Right.
So I'm curious, Matt, why do you disagree?
Well, I disagree because I do like the setup that they had this guy, and it was so innocent. And when he gets to the thing, and it's different because it's three characters, and you see that these characters know each other. They're bouncing off each other. There should be more relations with each other. And I love all the setup. I love all the horror that happens in there. I think it's fantastic, and I think it is the best scene in the whole movie. The problem I have with the scene, though, is that we don't know who these three people are. Like, they're
Yes.
out of the cast, these three people are the least important.
Yes.
And
that one chick who was freaking out the most had
no.
no idea who she was and what her relation was to anybody.
It is it's about when the guy finds out I didn't know that was his wife he was talking to.
Yeah, they were talking like there was some communication errors, and these two characters were trying to talk to each other through static, basically.
Yeah.
And they're going on, and I felt nothing between any of them. I had no idea that this chick was his wife, and then she died, and I didn't really feel anything for her except for the panic that her actor portrayed.
Yeah.
And then the guy is up there, hey, how's my wife? And somebody's like, oh, she's dead.
Yeah.
This is, oh, that was what?
Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised.
So the scene could have been much better if there was a better backstory to the characters.
If you felt
needs
something
to
for
be
any of
an
those
hour.
characters.
This is it. You shrink down the cast. You make an hour long of getting to know these people.
Yeah.
And then an hour in, once everything's built up, then you throw them into the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it's just, from there, it's just, holy cow.
And so now we have the next act with David in there.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Like,
I like David. I everything about David and Walter, their scenes together,
Yes.
I thought it really is the crux of the movie, I think.
yes.
And I like that direction. There's a couple of directions I thought they were going in, and I kept getting surprised. I did really like that. Like, I had no idea where this movie was really going. And then when they got to the robots, like, interacting with each other, I was like, holy cow. Like,
One of the issues I had, though, it was because they slowed down the movie
yeah.
to introduce David to the rest of the group and have Walter and David interact. Once they started that intense, like, scene of being attacked by aliens, and then to just stop, slow it down, and now it was like, well, okay. Then you're watching a story,
Yeah.
and then I don't think the horror was horrific enough. Like, you weren't on the edge of your seat for the whole thing.
Could that be because you didn't care for the characters too much instead of
Definitely
being
that.
yes.
Definitely that.
And there's a bit of there was another fan service moment in there. I don't know if you caught it, but that weird death scene inside the complex with Rose, I think her name was. She looks at her pistol. You see her load the pistol earlier, and she sees it, and the thing's behind her.
Yep.
This is a direct callback to Corporal Furrow in the helicopter in the second movie.
Oh, I
And
didn't catch it.
it's just, I don't know, it was too close to it that I couldn't be like, did this character, if you're not going to show me something original, did this need to happen? Could this character have been completely cut out?
Definitely.
Because she doesn't do anything.
That whole death scene could have been cut out.
Show me something new and original, and that's going to be way better than 10 generic deaths that I've seen before in this franchise. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of...
Yeah, they were just killing off people who I had no idea who they were.
Yeah.
I didn't care about any of them.
The fact that two of the guys get infected the exact same way
Oh, yes.
at the beginning. It's
Yeah.
like, that's redundant.
2 people died the exact same way without quickly. It was quick.
So what was the infection? How did they get it?
Spores.
Yeah, that I also really liked. I love the fact that, I had no idea how this is going to interact. I didn't know the life cycles of how this is going to happen. How the chest bursting, like, is it going to be a chest burster?
Yeah.
Turned up into like a spine burster. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was cool.
I love that.
So the spores were in the air and they inhaled it?
It's like
Yeah.
stink bombs.
Okay, so then I'm going to ask, isn't it okay that 2 people got infected the same way? Because if they're near the spores, were they together when it happened?
No, they were separate.
Okay.
And they were still with people.
Yeah.
So
No, it takes away from the surprise because at that.
Because
you've already seen one die that way.
Yeah.
I know, and I already know the other guy's going to die.
But is there a sense of, can you accept it for a sense of reality? Excuse me, because in real life, you're on this planet and you're exploring, and I walk in and I get attacked by these spores. Just because one person was hit doesn't mean it's not possible for another to be. In fact, it's highly probable for another to be. So while from a moviegoer's point of view, it might not be the most fascinating, it's certainly a little bit more realistic too.
I think you take away from the realism though, because you have it happen at the same time, and it comes down to the redundancy because you have 2 characters split off from the main group just for this incident to happen. To have the same incident happen in the main group anyway, and they all go back to the ship at the same time, it's like it just
As far
kills
as
tension.
it might not, it's realistic to have it that way, but it's not good storytelling. It's not good horror storytelling, because you want different suspenseful deaths for everybody, basically.
Yeah.
In a good horror, you want that thrill. As soon as you see 2 people infected, it's like, okay, well, I get it. I've already seen the one guy die. Now I'm going to see this guy die the exact same way.
yeah. There's
So Matt, let's. What was the next kind of pertinent scene that you kind of noticed and said, "Oh, this is good or bad"?
the first. Well, it's still in the beginning. It's during the catastrophe, so you don't. But Billy Crudup's character, he's the guy who turns into the captain. And I love Billy Crudup and everything he's in. And I was excited to see him in this. But right off the bat, I could not tell if it's the character, if it's the material he's working with, or if it was him himself overacting a bit. But he just was off for me the whole movie, and it killed me. And when he dies, I was like, "Are you? There's no way this character of all people buy this."
Yeah.
His death felt so cheap.
It was
Because
weird.
there's only 3 characters that we character. Danny McBride's character, Captain Daniels, and this guy. These are the only 3 characters with any real development besides the androids. And when he goes out like that, it's just too far-fetched.
Because he's even proven that, one, he doesn't climb without ropes.
Right.
He's already shown distrust in David.
Yes.
Sorry, how does he die?
He
He
gets chest bursted.
So, okay, this is what he catches David talking to an alien. He blows the alien away. He then says, "You are going to tell me everything you need to, like, no, because I don't trust a thing you're saying." David brings him in. He explains everything.
Yeah.
He explains he's been working on this egg with an alien.
Yeah.
He shows him the room of eggs. He says, "Oh, yeah, no, it's totally safe. Just look into the egg as it's opening up." And the guy does. And you're thinking there's, okay,
It's like, why did you trust him now of all things?
Yeah.
You see some crazy alien shit going on.
you've seen him kill directly 2 of your people.
Yeah. Or indirectly.
It's, I don't know, at that point it's pretty direct. I would just assume that this guy's letting an alien in. Like,
Yeah.
that's where I'd be coming
From what if you were to take his position and what he's seen.
Especially his line, "I've seen the devil's face before. I know what it looks like." That's what David is to him, the devil.
Yeah. No, so it's totally out of character for him to just trust
Yeah.
and look into this face hugger egg and then just die that way.
Also, I'm a little annoyed by just the life cycle of that facer. Like, I got it for the spores because it's something we've never seen before. But in the Alien franchise, it's this felt like an hour, a few hours.
Yeah.
That's not that. It takes a lot more time. I just wait, and
is it
especially when it's
like a
Ridley
day?
Scott doing it,
Yeah.
the creator, he should know better than to just.
Yeah. Because that second.
Because if he
that
went onto
second
the
face-
ship with it, if he was the reason why that random alien was on the ship, that would make a lot more sense.
Because that second face hugger, egg chest burster, he didn't pop until like 2 days later. It
Yeah.
felt. So I was
yeah.
how did this one just pop in the first hour, and then the
Yeah.
other one pops in
Right.
24 hours,
Yeah.
48 hours? I don't know. You don't know how long it is.
Okay, so what was the next prevalent scene?
Next prevalent scene, I think we talked about a lot of it. David versus Walter. That fight scene,
Yeah.
ridiculously good.
Good fight scene. What was totally unnecessary
Yeah.
was the off-screen death.
Yes.
Because you would have felt a lot more suspense
Yeah.
if you knew David had replaced Walter
Yeah.
throughout the rest of the movie. Because what happened was Walter and David are synths. They look exactly the same. And then just before they kill each other, it cuts away. And then later you see a character who everybody knows it's David.
Yeah.
It wasn't even...
As soon as it happened, I was looking for the arm. I was looking at his battle damage. I was looking at his demeanor. I was listening to his accent. I was so fine-tuned. Like,
Yeah. But there was no reason to do it that way. Because it's so overused. That swap, that robot swap is so overused, and there's no reason to have it hidden.
right.
It should have been done. I wanted to see that guy die. That would have been. You see all these horror deaths.
Yeah.
How come I don't see Walter just shredded to pieces or whatever?
Right.
And then watching David go through, just show how megalomaniac, how psychotic he is by cutting off his own arm.
Yeah.
Like those are suspenseful thriller scenes that could have been thrown in there.
And the way that it's cut for the rest of the movie, it's still trying to make you believe it. It's shot so like
It's
telegraphed that he's David. So you're thinking, well, okay, maybe there's a chance that Walter actually did survive. And they cut in a way like as it kept going on, it kept sounding and acting more like Walter.
Yeah.
And his facial expressions could be interpreted both ways, but I'm like, there's got to be a way.
He's trying to fool you.
Yeah.
And
it would,
you're not fooling anybody.
I would be fooled if it was Walter.
Yes.
And that would have been a good payoff.
Yes.
Because here's the other thing about alien movies. There's always a happy ending. Now the next movie after every alien movie always ends in disaster. You realize that nothing happened, but you
Yeah.
always get the good closure.
Yes. So if in the next movie it turned out
Yeah.
to be David,
Yeah.
that would have been okay.
Yeah.
I like that idea. That would have been good too. But here's a part of this David Walter swap when he's looking at the alien and him are looking at each other through the screen.
Yeah.
Walter jumps or David jumps
Yeah.
in fear.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Why would this robot character jump in fear at the alien?
Yeah.
And it's a move just to fool you that it's Walter.
Yeah.
David wouldn't jump at his own creation, but Walter wouldn't jump at that creation either because he's a robot and he's clearly pretty good at battle. Like he knows what
Yeah.
he's doing. So that was a stupid failure to try to fool and just
The audience.
throw all the characters out of character.
Yeah.
Both Walter and David. That didn't match any of their behaviors.
Right. What I will say though, the whole heli carrier fight thing, while they're going up with the alien, and Daniels is on the rope and she's trying to shoot this thing off.
Yeah.
I thought that was a scene I would never see because it's just like but it turns out to be really well executed. Like I thought the action of that scene was really good, and if that was the end, I thought that would also have been pretty good. And then if David so they kill the alien there, and then David ends up on the ship, and that's the end of the movie. That's fine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That was a good fight scene.
Because where the hell did the second alien come from? Like, I don't know.
It was remember the face hugger who they cut off he had already planted the egg.
Yeah. No, he didn't cut off. Did he?
Yeah, when that second alien face hugger jumped onto that guy's face and they cut him and he burnt his face.
Yeah.
That's where that.
Oh my god. That they didn't pregnant him that fast.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that at all.
No, he must have had that egg sucker down his throat pretty fast. I mean,
That's
the only thing. That's the only way.
No, you're right. I didn't think that.
You missed that.
And in that scene, you also get the other two guys that have faces that you know,
Yeah.
who haven't done shit for the entire movie.
Yet you're still okay with them. Like they're still more developed than any other character.
But when they die the way
and
they
it turns
do,
out, yeah,
it's like, why did these guys get all the screen time? They haven't done anything,
yep,
and they go out with nothing to do.
yep. Just having sex in a shower.
It's
That's
just
two
a
characters they could have cut out.
sex in the shower scene with an alien is something that Alien is above. There's no reason to have this in an Alien movie.
That's
an AVP thing to do.
That's a Starship Troopers 2 thing to do.
Yeah, I mean,
So you talk about how David being on the ship after the fight would have been a good way to end. How did they end? Was it a good ending?
no.
No, it was pretty boring. It was another trope they do: shoot the alien out the airlock.
Again, and plus that strategy, they talk about the acid, but in their mind frame, they haven't had any chance to really think about it.
Yeah.
And they're carrying guns.
The only thing they have to go on by acid is that guy who had a scarred face.
Which they rushed over.
Yeah. So everyone else who noticed this stuff burning was dead before they could get on the ship.
Yeah.
So the only person who could say, yeah, no, it burnt my face like acid. Now all of a sudden this chick is like, don't shoot it or I'll burn acid through the hull. And it's like, well,
Plus,
there's no way you know that. I don't even know
okay.
that. Shoot him. Let's see what happens.
yeah. It's just, it was a waste. It was just, and you know what's going to happen. So it's not like there's any tension there.
Yeah, because you've already seen it happen.
I've seen an alien get blown out of airlocks every freaking movie. That's why I like the helicopters. It's just,
Yeah.
there's an alien just getting through the thing.
Yeah, that's a good action, suspenseful.
I was on the edge of my seat for that scene. It was great.
All right, so what do you think? Did you like it? Now that we've butchered it, we've just we've torn it to
I did like
pieces.
it. I did like it. It was well shot. I did like hearing Jerry Goldsmith's Alien tunes in there, remastered a bit.
Yeah.
And I did like the general score. Ridley Scott really, he does get everything in terms of design. Like the visuals is all great.
Yep.
I did like the scope of the alien. Mm-hmm. This is something I think the movie did, because in none of the other movies did I believe that the alien was enough of a threat that it would take over Earth. The way they portray the alien in this movie,
Yes.
I could totally buy that one of these things, the way it moves, the way it hunts, the way it spreads,
Yes.
is like this is a planetary threat.
Yeah.
So I did like that. I did like the part with David and releasing the spores onto the.
Yeah, it was a cute little whatevs. I mean, yeah, it didn't mean anything to me.
no.
It could have been an accident. It could have been him.
Yeah.
I guess, but that falls into you didn't get it part that we have to talk about. People are arguing. You know, people who say they don't like it. They're like, well, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't get it.
You didn't get it?
Yeah, no. It was it David just looking for trying to be God or trying to do what his creator did for him?
He was creating his own species. So he was taking what they had,
Just
and
to
he
be-
was on a cellular level building his own race that he thought was perfect.
So he was just trying to be his own version of Waylon, I guess.
Yes.
And the engineers and all that, it's just continuing the cycle.
Yeah.
And he felt that he needed to do it. He took it upon himself to further that cycle.
Right. And I love that fact that when you get to Ash in the first Alien movie, the other robot, I feel like there's a good connection, because he looks at the alien, he says, it is a perfect organism without morality. He has respect. And I
Yeah.
feel like having another synth, like they're onto something
Yeah.
for themselves. They really appreciate this thing.
Yes.
So
another synth recognizes the other guy's work.
Yeah.
As good.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I liked it as a movie.
Yeah.
I give it a 6.5, maybe even a 7.
I'm surprised.
However, because I've seen so many Alien movies, and I know all the tropes and I know all the tricks.
Yeah.
As another Alien movie, I felt that it didn't give me anything new. So I have to give it a failure score as an Alien movie, because I was not. They didn't trick me,
No.
so I'm gonna give it like a 4.5.
4.5
Yeah, as an Alien movie.
as an alien movie. All right, that's fair. I think Ridley Scott was too in between the mythology of Prometheus and the fan service of the Alien franchise.
Yeah,
He didn't execute on either. And I think if you just start the movie with a 1:30 title crawl with the song Entry of the Gods to Valhalla as your title music,
yeah,
and you build the suspense, I think that just cleans up the movie.
yeah.
More character development. I still really enjoy it though. I'll give it a 6.5. I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm gonna go a little lower than before. 6.
All right. Well, there you have it. 6 and
Weakest of the franchise. I do think Alien Resurrection is better.
Alien Resurrection.
Yeah,
Really?
I think it's a better movie. It's got characters that I can name.
Yeah,
I can
okay.
name every single character in every single other Alien movie. I cannot. I got Daniels in this, which is weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. Thanks for watching, guys, or listening.
Thanks,
Have a good
everyone.
one.